that there's this audible gasp as they hear the plans that France and Britain and that Russia have, for the future of the Ottomans. It's not going to be a slap on the wrist, it's going to be dismemberment. And the dismemberment of the Ottoman Empire is what creates the modern Middle Eastern world that is still such a part of our lives today. I said earlier that the Bolshevik Revolution was probably the top, long-lasting aftershock in the First World War, but maybe it's better to say that there's a list of 3 or 4 possible claimants to the throne, if you will. And maybe another one is the changes that are created in the Middle East because the Ottoman Empire is broken up. Let's remember, this is a 600-year-old empire. It's hard to overstate how long the structures and the type of rule by the Ottoman impacted that area. First of all, it was a large area that was under Muslim control with a caliphate on paper at least, and the leader of the religion, at least the Sunni branch of it, in Turkey. The Turks ruled that region with an iron fist, and yet at the same time it was in the process of having huge debates over modernization and keeping up with the rest of the world. And they were just a few years from finding out that they sat atop some of the world's greatest deposits of oil on the planet, which some more conspiratorial historians will weave into the story and point out that it wasn't an accident that the French and the British, for example, were deciding that it was worth tearing up the Ottoman Empire at this point. But if they hadn't, and somehow the Ottoman Empire had existed another 10 or 20 years, think about the inheritance it was about to come into as a giant, multi-ethnic Islamic state with oil wealth coming into the... it's fascinating to ponder how different the world might be. But if you're a member of the government of Ottoman Turkey, when you hear the news about how you're going to be dismembered as part of these secret agreements that become public, you're getting that information about a week, maybe even a little less than a week, on the heels of some other information that sort of should have warned you that this was coming, because everybody awoke to a declaration that was published on November 2nd, 1917, that appeared in a bunch of newspapers and kind of went viral, I guess you could say, by the standards of the early 20th century. And the statement said this, quote, "His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other countries." End quote. So you get that on November 2nd, you get the news on the 8th or the 9th, about the Sykes-Picot Agreement and these others that don't just tear up your empire and give it to the victorious powers, if they're going to be victorious, that's still up in the air, but also gives it to peoples who are currently in your empire now, most notably Arab people. In a very similar move to what the Germans had done when they sent Vladimir Lenin to go into Russia and destabilize that country, the British have been working with subjects of the Ottoman Empire and encouraging them to rebel. There were a couple of important Arab tribal leaders that were already sort of thinking along those lines and may have had contacts with the British even